I've got the brush attachment off our Kirby Legend Heritage 2. What seems to have happened is the brushes seems to have seized. So I switched it on, the belt started to smoke, switched it off a bit quick, and they do seem to have seized. So let's see if we can get it apart and see what the problem is. There's two catches here. Release this cover. That's good. That takes that out, because the belt I've already pulled off. The catch inside that's what lifts the belt off the shaft, which goes through here. So I've already taken that off. Other thing to note, the little green LED that tells you that it's rotating is here. There's a little coil in this plastic moulding, and that coil is energized by the movement of this little lump here. As it rotates, presumably there's a magnet in there. I don't know, I haven't tried it. Have I got a bit of metal? Oh yes, it's quite a strong magnet in fact, and that is what energizes that coil, makes the LED light. That's why the light comes on, but there's nothing attached to it, and that's how it's done. But this is locked solid, so let's get it out of this frame. Lift it out of here. Now, another thing to note here, whilst they look similar, the two ends are in fact different. There are different widths. The slot is. This slot in here is a different width. This is one dimension, and this is the other. Stops you putting it in the wrong way round. Because if you did put it in the wrong way round, of course the light wouldn't work, because the magnet would be on the wrong end. Right, yeah, bit of a burn mark on the belt there. That's what the smoke was, which I've now managed to get out of the house. Right. Well, it does rotate if you do it by hand. This does appear to be all out of shape and slightly damaged here. So that, I'm guessing that's what the problem is, because it goes so far and then it's binding. So I put it at a point where it's loose and then take this off. And there was me hoping to get the hoovering done before my wife came back. This is an adjustment screw, because there's one on the other end as well, and the way they do the adjusting is they would normally bear down on there, and it would move the roller up and down ever so slightly. But the other thing it appears to do, is there's a threaded hole all the way through there, is keep this cap in place, which is full of dirt, and it rotates a bit better, but if you look, it's eccentric. Yes, there's something definitely wrong. It's not on centre. This piece is not in the centre of this piece. So, we gently lever this up. that off. There's a washer. Dirty. And I think we can see the problem now. This here is melted, and presumably what's happened, and I don't know, I'm guessing of course because I wasn't in there at the time, but I'm guessing this has seized, and then the plastic around it's got hot, has melted, and now that it's set in place, of course it's set in slightly the wrong position, and it's making it bind as it goes round because it's not on centre. So I'm assuming I just give this a tap. Yeah, very light tap. That has displaced this end. I'm hoping I can gently lever this out. That's gone from that end. I don't want to press down on here too much because I don't want to deform this any more than it clearly already is. I can't readily pull it out, and whilst this is quite a sloppy fit in this hole, when I get to the other end it jams, and if you try to pull it out, this metal bushing in here starts to rotate inside the plastic, which I don't think we want to encourage, as I think that's probably what went wrong with the other end. So I don't know why I can't get the shaft out. This is obviously no good because the hole in the centre of this molten piece of plastic is not in the centre of the roller. The roller itself is made out of wood. My thoughts are, well, there is a defined edge just here on the roller. I could probably drill out and pick out all of this plastic, and I wonder how thick the I don't think the hole inside the roller is actually any bigger than this. It's not hollow inside, so this isn't an end piece, which possibly, if I could get a measurement on this hole, I could find a bearing that I could then push into here. If I get all of this out and push it in, just a tiny bearing with what? It's probably a 6mm, something like that. Well, I've done some measurements on the end here and had a look at this end in here as well, and I've come to the conclusion that, especially as it's a US made machine, that if I have to get a bearing, it's going to be 5/8 outside diameter to fit inside the wooden hole. And then this shaft is measuring 1/4, and I can get a bearing for that. It's about £3 something from a local supplier, plus postage and packing in the UK, that is. And I might go down that route. I might see if I could just bodge this for the moment so that I can finish to get on and do the hoovering, but I may go down that route, because when I looked to get one of these rollers from the States, a genuine part was about £40 plus postage. To get an aftermarket part was about £25 from a supplier other than eBay or Amazon. You need to make sure, if you want that light to work, you need to make sure it's one that's got the magnet on it. So the drawback, of course, with the £17 or whatever it was, eBay and Amazon ones, is you can't be absolutely certain that they've taken this into account. I mean, that may be why it's a little bit cheaper. The other thing, as I said earlier, was that you've got to make sure that the two end pieces, they are in fact different sizes, although as long as, well, I was going to say as long as they were smaller, but you'd have to pack it out then. So all in all, I might go down the route of spending a couple of pound on getting a new bearing and actually putting a deep groove ball bearing in there. Well, trying to heat it up with the torch to make the plastic malleable, move it over, that didn't work, so I'm going to drill it out. And the lovely people at Henderson Bearings have sent me a new bearing, £6.59 including VAT, so not sponsored by them, but it only took a day and a half to get here, so that's good. So I'm going to just clean this out. We take a shaft out. So there is a metal sleeve in here, so I'm going to drill around the outside of it and hopefully that will clear it all out. I'm going to be using my RT550. I fixed that in a recent video because the drive shaft was disconnected because the spring had broken. Drill this out then. Right, mind your ears. Something appears to be loose. See if we can get a pair of 81s on this. That's nearly loose. It's not loose on that side, which is a shame. I think a bit more drilling is required. Mind your ears. This bushing looks as though it might be some sort of phosphor bronze even. If this all fails and I end up having to buy new brush assembly, then so be it, but at least I've given it a go and it's only cost me £6.59. Better to have tried to repair once and failed than never repaired at all. Isn't that how the quote goes? Ooh, there we go. Yes, 'tis some sort of bushing type material, brass or something. Now all the bits are falling down inside. Terrific. Not really designed for this. Hooray! Well, that's what was in there. There's now a clean hole. I'm going to show you that. I've just given this a little bit of a clean up. Hopefully this is going to go over the top now. Oh no, needs a bit more of a clean up. Again. I think where the screw goes through this shaft, it's made this portion just here a little bit too wide. I could probably force it on, but I don't want to be in a position where I need to take it off again. Just need to clean up inside here as well. Yes, a few gouge marks in there, unfortunately. I don't know who did that. I want it to be a tight fit, but I'm also conscious that because this is made of, well, say wood, it's probably a bit like MDF actually, that if I push it in, there's a possibility I'll split it. So I'm just looking down to see where it's catching. Very little in it. Right, I've worked the bearing into position by just scraping away ever so lightly the inside of this wooden hole. It's the bearing was a 5/8. It was a quarter centre OD of 5/8. I was working on the basis it was a US measurement, and it's very, very close fit on the outside. But I just had to open it out a tiny bit to say I really wanted it firm anyway, because I don't want it rotating. And the inner just slipped over with just a snap. It was just give it a push and it jumped over, because this area here, it was just that sort of thing that was holding it. Yeah, it's perfect, absolutely lovely. In some ways I wish I'd bought two bearings and had done the other end. But there doesn't appear to be any issue with this, and I thought, well, if it's not broken, you know, don't try and repair it. But this is so much better now. Right, I've just got to reassemble it all now. So having successfully got the bearing into this space here, so it turns really freely now. Very nice. I've just got to reassemble all of this. Yep, that's fully on. think it matters which way round this is. If it does, I'll just have to take it off and do it again. These not only hold it together, but also they are the adjustment screws for the height of the brushes within the actual assembly. Although in my case it seems to be they were pretty well screwed down. Bit more. Right. And then this goes on. To remember which way round this is. There's the assembly for the LED. So obviously the magnet has to go at that end. So that goes that way. They go like that. So these go like this. The clips here go under there. Put this into here first, obviously. Stupid boy. One end. Much more sensible with the screws showing now. Right, try again. That's better. Rotating there until I've got hold of the belt. Right, that's better. Oops. Right, that's better. Afford the skirting board some measure of protection. And the other end. Right, much more sensible now. Now go and try it on the machine. Okay, let's get this off. And, still got a bit of molten rubber from the band when everything had seized up. Of course, it was just rotating. Let's see how this works. That's the best it's been for a long time. I can really give the carpet a good beating now with those brushes. Brilliant.